Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you, so let's begin. My name is Trevor, and for most of my life, I believed that love was simple. If you truly cared about someone, you did everything in your power to make them happy. I thought that was how relationships were supposed to work. But life has a way of humbling you, of teaching you lessons you never asked for. I was with Cassandra for years. People would always say, it's only a matter of time before you two get married. And I believe that too. While I was planning forever, she saw me as something else entirely. I was about to learn the hard way that love isn't just about how much you're willing to give. It's also about whether the person you're giving to actually values it. This story changed the way I see love and relationships forever. If you've ever found yourself in a relationship where you gave your all, only to be called weak and too nice, then keep watching, because this story is for you. Back in university, if you had asked anyone about me and Cassandra, they would have told you the same thing. We were the perfect couple. People didn't ask if we were getting married. They only asked when. It was almost a given. I believed that as long as I treated her right, made her happy, and gave her everything she asked for, we would have the kind of relationship people envied. That was my idea of love. I built my entire life around Cassandra. If she wanted something, I found a way to give it to her. If she was upset, I was the first to apologize, even when I had no idea what I had done wrong. I thought that was how relationships worked. You love someone, so you do whatever it takes to keep them happy. I never once questioned if my sacrifices were being appreciated or if I was just setting myself up for failure. Looking back now, I can't believe the things I did just to keep the peace. There was a close friend I had in university, someone I had known long before Cassandra even came into the picture. One day, she casually mentioned that she didn't like him. She didn't give a real reason, just that she didn't vibe with his energy. That was all it took for me to cut him off. I stopped hanging out with him, stopped answering his calls, just to make her feel comfortable. At the time, I didn't even think twice about it. If losing a friend meant keeping Cassandra happy, then so be it. If she needed something, I dropped everything to make it happen. If she was having a bad day, I rearranged my entire schedule just to be there for her. If she wanted me to change something about myself, I didn't question it. I just did it. I thought I was being a devoted partner, the kind of man every woman dreams of. But there's a fine line between being a loving boyfriend and being a doormat. And I was blind to the fact that the woman I was bending over backward for never truly appreciated it. I still remember the day I proposed to Cassandra. It was just me, down on one knee, holding out a ring, hoping she'd say yes. And she did. I don't think I've ever felt that kind of happiness before. We set the wedding date for a few months later, and soon after, she moved in with me. That was the moment everything started feeling real. Waking up next to her, coming home to her after work, knowing that this was our space, it felt like a dream. I was convinced that I had hit the jackpot, that I was about to start the perfect life with the perfect woman. I wanted to make sure everything was just right for her. I adjusted my routine, made space for her things, even changed the way I did little everyday tasks, just to make sure she felt comfortable. If there was ever a moment where I believed I was exactly where I was meant to be, it was then. One evening, Cassandra had been complaining about cramps all day, so I told her to rest while I handled dinner. It wasn't even a question for me. I wanted to take care of her. That's what you do for the person you love, right? I grabbed my wallet and keys, ready to head to the mall to pick up a few things we needed. As I was stepping out, I saw her best friend walking up to the apartment. We exchanged a quick greeting before I went on my way. I was glad Cassandra would have some company while I was out. Halfway to the mall, I reached into my pocket for my wallet, and that's when I realized my ATM card wasn't there. I had used it earlier for an online purchase and must have left it on the table. It was a small mistake, but that decision to turn back changed everything. I got back to the apartment, climbed the stairs, and let myself in. I heard Cassandra chatting and laughing. I walked toward the living room, spotted my ATM card right where I had left it, and reached for it. I should have picked up the card and walked straight back out. But I didn't. Something made me pause when my name came up mid-sentence. My gut told me to listen, so I did. At first, I thought I had misheard her. Trevor is too nice. If I told him to crawl on his knees, he'd do it. The words hit like a slap. My mind trying to process what I had just heard. She kept going. Men like him are the kind women cheat on, and they'll still be grateful to have the woman. My ex was a real man, and I don't think Trevor can be compared to him in any way. For a brief second, I thought about barging in and demanding an explanation. But I didn't move. I stayed frozen, letting every word sink in. I had spent years loving this woman, putting her above everything, reshaping my life to fit hers. I had changed my habits, my routines, even the people I kept around me, all because I believed that's what a committed man does. And yet, here she was laughing at me. 1,000 thoughts raced through my mind. Had she always felt this way? Was I the only one who thought our relationship was solid? Had I been fooling myself this entire time? So, without making a sound, I turned around, walked out the door, and left. Instead of going to the mall, I found myself sitting at a dimly lit lounge, a glass of whiskey in front of me. I hadn't touched alcohol in years, gave it up for Cassandra. She once said she didn't like men who drank too much, so I stopped. Just like I stopped smoking. Just like I stopped hanging out with certain friends. Just like I changed everything about myself to fit the man she wanted. Or, at least, the man I thought she wanted. And yet, somehow, that still wasn't enough. I swirled the drink in my hand, staring at the amber liquid. My mind took me to darker places. If she thought so little of me, what else had she done behind my back? Had she been cheating on me? After all, she spoke about her ex like he was some kind of real man. If that was the case, then what was I? A placeholder? Someone to keep her comfortable, while she wished she was with someone else? I took a sip of the whiskey, letting the burn slide down my throat. I was too lost in my thoughts. I had loved Cassandra with everything I had, and in return, I was a joke she shared with her friend. As the night wore on, my phone buzzed on the table. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again, and again. Cassandra was calling. I didn't need to check the screen to know. After a while, the call stopped, and the messages started coming in. I let them pile up. At some point, I picked up my phone to scroll through her messages, and the moment I read the latest one, something inside me snapped. What in hell are you still doing at the mall? Even a 10-year-old would have been done by now. That was it. No, where are you? No, are you okay? No concern, no worry, just irritation and impatience. She wasn't even remotely curious why I was late. She didn't care. I put my phone down and leaned back in my chair. The realization settled in, heavy and cold. I had been a fool. I got home late that night. I had spent hours at the lounge trying to drown out my thoughts, but no amount of whiskey could erase the words that kept replaying in my head. When I finally stepped into the apartment, Cassandra was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up the second she heard the door close behind me. Her eyes flicked to the clock, then back to me. "Where have you been?" she asked, her tone a mix of irritation and mild concern. I didn't answer. I didn't even look at her. I just kicked off my shoes, tossed my keys on the table, and walked straight to the bedroom. I could feel her eyes on my back as I moved, waiting for some kind of explanation, maybe even an apology. That was usually how things went between us. If she was upset, I smoothed things over. If she was annoyed, I adjusted myself to make her comfortable again. But not this time. I had nothing left to give. I pulled off my jacket, got into bed, and turned my back to her. I didn't bother checking if she followed me into the room. I didn't care. I wasn't in the mood for a conversation, an argument, or another round of being dismissed like I was nothing. For the first time since I met Cassandra, I was done trying. She lingered in the doorway for a moment, probably confused by my silence. "Trevor," she called softly, her voice carrying a slight edge of uncertainty. When I didn't respond, she sighed and climbed into bed beside me. I felt the mattress dip under her weight, the sheets shifting as she got comfortable. She was expecting me to turn around. She didn't ask again. She had no idea that by the time the sun rose, everything she thought she had with me would be gone. I woke up before the sun even had the chance to rise. Moving quietly so I wouldn't wake her, I got out of bed and started gathering her things. every dress, every shoe, every little item that belonged to Cassandra. I packed them neatly into bags. I wanted there to be no trace of her left in my space when this was over. When I was done, I carried the bags outside, placing them by the dumpster. The irony didn't escape me. She had treated me like disposable trash, and now, here her things were, right next to it. With everything set, I walked back inside, and she was still sleeping. I leaned down slightly and shook her shoulder. "Come outside. I need to show you something." She groaned, barely opening her eyes. "What? What is it?" "Just come," I said, my voice calm but firm. Still half asleep, she sat up, rubbing her eyes before finally getting up to follow me. She had no idea. As soon as she stepped past the doorway, I reached for the door and slammed shut behind her, locking it in one swift motion. She jumped, startled, turning back with confusion written all over her face. "What are you doing?" she asked. I didn't say anything at first. I just tilted my head toward the dumpster. Her eyes followed my gesture, and that's when she saw them. Her bags, her clothes, everything she had brought into this home, sitting outside like discarded baggage. A flicker of panic crossed her face. "Trevor, what is this?" I pushed the door open just enough to slip inside, shutting it quickly behind me before she could step back in or even process what was happening. From inside the room, my voice was steady, colder than I had ever spoken to her before. "You think loving you makes me a fool?" I asked, my tone leaving no room for argument. "Then go find the kind of guy you can respect." For the first time, she didn't have a smug remark, just stunned silence. Then, as if realizing the weight of what was happening, she rushed to the door, banging on it. "Trevor, wait, just open the door. Let's talk." I stood inside, unmoved. I had nothing left to say to her. "Please," she begged, her voice cracking now. "You're misunderstanding. Just let me explain." I let out a chuckle. I heard everything, Cassandra. Every single word. You were right. I needed to be reminded of my worth. She started knocking harder, her voice rising in desperation. But I turned away. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I already knew who it was. I pulled it out, saw her name flashing on the screen, and without hesitation, I blocked the number. Cassandra might have thought I was too nice before, but now she was finally seeing the version of me she never expected, the one who had nothing left to give her. The wedding was canceled. Everything we had planned was gone. I just erased her from my life, the same way she had erased my worth with her words. Looking back, I learned some hard but important lessons. The first and most painful truth was that love should never require you to sacrifice your self-respect. I spent years believing that putting Cassandra's happiness above everything, including my own, was the right thing to do. I thought love meant giving endlessly, never questioning, always adjusting to fit her needs. But that kind of love is not love at all, it's submission. And the moment you give up your dignity for someone else, they stop seeing you as an equal. I also learned that being kind doesn't mean being weak. I always believed that treating Cassandra with patience and understanding would make our relationship stronger. But I was wrong. Kindness only has value when the person on the receiving end respects it. If someone already sees you as less than them, no amount of love, compromise, or effort will change that. Finally, I realized that if a woman doesn't appreciate you as you are, she will never truly respect you. I had built my whole relationship on the idea that love meant proving myself, proving that I was good enough, proving that I was the man she claimed she wanted. But the truth is, if someone needs you to prove your worth, they've already decided you don't have it. And without respect, love is meaningless. I don't know if I'll ever love another woman the way I loved Cassandra. Maybe I won't, and that's fine with me. The version of me that once believed love meant sacrificing everything, that man is gone. I spent years bending over backward, putting her needs above mine, thinking that was what a good partner was supposed to do. But in the end, all it did was make me an easy target for disrespect. That relationship taught me a hard lesson. No matter how much you give, some people will never appreciate it. And honestly, I'd rather be alone than ever let someone take me for granted like that again. So what do you think? Have you ever been in a situation like this? What would you have done differently? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this story interesting, don't forget to like and share. Thanks for watching.